everyone, this is the tutorial for project 1. In this tutorial I'm gonna teach you how to set up a single phase reservoir in CMG. So the first step is to open CMG from the remote desktop. So we go to Launcher, press OK, and open the Builder app. Then we're gonna click on the white blank page. That's gonna allow us to create a new project. In here we can see that CMG provides us 3 different options. For this example, we're gonna use IMEX, which is the black oil simulator, and we're gonna be working with fuel units. We're gonna use a single porosity model, so we left that one as it is, and we're gonna click OK and OK again. This is the main window of CMG. On the left side we can see all the different options that we have to customize our model. The red X's stand for an error or an incomplete section. So by the end of this tutorial, we're gonna have green check marks all over this place. So let's go ahead and start. We're gonna click in the reservoir arrow, and we're gonna select Create Grid and Cartesian. We're gonna set the number of grid blocks in the I direction to 80, the number of grid blocks in the J direction to 75, and 1 in the K direction. We're gonna specify the widths. For the I direction, we have 80 blocks that are 75 feet. And the J direction, we have 75 blocks that are 100 feet. And we'll go ahead and press OK. So this is our main grid. Now we need to go to the next X, which is array properties, and we're gonna populate our newly created grid. To set it up, first we're gonna create a homogeneous grid with constant properties, and after we're gonna edit that with the properties listed for the project. So right now for the grid we're gonna specify that all the tops are at 1000 feet. For the grid thickness, we're gonna give it a value of 50 feet. For porosity, we're gonna specify a value of 0.2 or 20% right now. And for the permeability right now, we're gonna give it a value, let's say, of 100 millidarcies. Then permeability in the J direction is 0.15 of the permeability in the I direction. So to set up that, we're gonna right click in this block, click on Edit Specification, click in equal times 0.15 and click OK. For the permeability in K direction, we're gonna do a similar process. So we're gonna right click, click in edit specification and says equals, and select equals to I and click OK. Now we're gonna go ahead and tell CMG what happens, where do we want our null blocks. So we use the drop down menu and select null blocks. And then we right click there, set edit specification, set blocks to null where the porosity is less than or equal to 0 and click OK. So what this does is that CMG is gonna set inactive blocks where our porosity is 0, like in our MATLAB script where we set them to not a number. We're gonna press OK and OK again. Now we can see that our grid is populated. Now we're gonna go to the next warning. That's rock compressibility, and we're gonna set it to 1 to the minus 6, and we're gonna leave the reference pressure as the atmospheric pressure and press OK. So now we're gonna go ahead and move to the component section. So we're gonna click on it, click on model, and click on launch a dialog to create a black oil model. Press OK. We're gonna specify the reservoir temperature as 100 degrees Fahrenheit. We're gonna tell CMG to generate data up to 5,300 psi's. The bubble point in this case is gonna be a single phase, but we still have to specify it. So we're gonna set it to 502.505. We're gonna set a value for the oil density of 53. Later on, we're gonna trick CMG to only simulate one phase, but we'll just set it for the sake of completeness. We're gonna set also the gas density to 0.6, gas gravity, I'm sorry. This is gonna allow us to make an easy extension for project 2. And finally, we're gonna set the pressure dependence of water viscosity to 0, and we're gonna click OK. Now we're gonna click in the check mark that says PBT region 1 to change some of the default values. In here, the water density is slightly different to the one in our project, so we're gonna correct this to 62.4. We're gonna change the undersaturated oil compressibility to 3 to the minus 6, and the pressure dependence to 0.0001. We're gonna change the formation volume factor of the water to 1.0122988811. We're gonna change the compressibility of water to 2.87 to the minus 6. The reference pressure for the PW is 4,500. Water viscosity, it's 0.383. That's it for this table. We're gonna click on apply. Now we have moved to the PVT table we were in general. We're gonna deselect include oil compressibility, click apply, and OK. Now we're gonna specify the rock fluid parameters. So we click in here, then in rock fluid types, in this little triangle, and select new rock type. Here we're gonna click in tools and in generate tables using correlations. These parameters are not gonna be used in our model, but for CMG to run the simulation, we're gonna have to input some values. These values are gonna be truly explained for project 2. So we're gonna input 0.2, 0.2, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4, 0.4, 0, 0, 0.8, 0.3, 0.8, and another 0.8. All the exponents are gonna be 2's. We're gonna go ahead and press apply and OK. Now we're gonna go ahead and click include capillary pressure and include capillary pressure hysteresis. Now we're gonna go to the hysteresis modeling tab. We're gonna click on model hysteresis effect and leave the selected option. Again, all this is gonna be truly explained for project 2. We're just doing it here for the sake of completeness. We're gonna go ahead and click apply and OK. You'll see that there's a warning display, but we're gonna fix that later on. Now we're gonna go to initial conditions. We're gonna go to initial conditions. We're gonna click in advanced, and we're gonna click in block saturation at each block, the same as saturation per block center. We're gonna select water oil with no free gas. Now we're gonna move to PVT region parameters. We're gonna define our reference depth. So first, our reference pressure is 4500 and our reference depth is 7495. We're gonna tell CMG that our water oil contact is at 0 feet because we would like to only deal with water. We're gonna set a constant bubble point pressure of 502.505. Again, this is not needed for this model, but we're just gonna define it for completeness. Now we're gonna click on apply and OK. Now we're gonna go ahead and set our numerical parameters. So CMG has an adaptive time step algorithm. In order to match our MATLAB results, we would like to fix this one to 1 day. So we're gonna set our maximum time step size to 1 day. The first time step after well change to 1 day, and the minimum time step to 0.99999, which is somewhat close to 1 day. We're gonna go ahead and click apply and OK. Now we're gonna go ahead and set up our wells. So we'll click on the wells and recurrent tab and click on wells. We'll create a new well 1, which is a producer. We're gonna define a constraint. So operate, and well 1 operates at standard surface liquid rate, with 120 values per day. We're gonna add a new well, which is well 2. It's a producer as well. I'm gonna add the same constraint, operate at STL. This operates at 90 barrels per day. We're gonna add a new well 3. It's a producer as well. This produces at a bottom hole pressure of 502, 505. We're gonna add well 4, which has the same condition, the producer, and operates at the same pressure. Now go ahead and add the last 2 wells. So this is a producer as well, and it has the same constraint, 502, 505. And then we'll add the last well, that it's a producer. Now we're gonna click OK. Now we're gonna go ahead and set up the additional constraints. So we're gonna click on the wells tab and select well number 1. We're gonna select constraint, and in the little calendar icon, we're gonna input 500 days and click somewhere. No, I'll do it again. 500 days and click somewhere. That way it's selected, and click OK. Now we're gonna set a constraint at 500 days. We're gonna change this well to a bottom hole pressure well. 502, 505. And we're gonna click in apply. We're gonna go ahead and do that with well number 2. We're gonna go to constraint, select the date on the calendar, and define the conversion to BHP well 205, and click apply. For the conversion of well number 5 and 6, we're gonna do a different procedure. CMG doesn't allow us to change a producing well to an injector well, so we're gonna trick it by shutting off the current well and starting the injection from a new well. So we're gonna go to well 5 and click in 500 days, go to options, click on status, and select shut in. We're gonna do the same with well number 6. We're gonna go to 500 days, options, click on select status, click in shut in. We'll click apply and OK. Now we're gonna add our injection wells. So we select new. We're gonna name it 5INJ. we're gonna define it as an injector well weighted by mobility, and we're gonna tell it to start injecting at 500 days. We click OK. Now we're gonna add a constraint. Since we're injecting water, we're gonna select STW, and we are gonna inject 500 barrels a day. We're gonna add a new well. This is gonna be the last well we're gonna be adding. It's well number 6 INJ, 6 injector. The same thing, it's mobility weighted, and it starts injecting at 500 days. I'm gonna click OK and add its constraint. We're gonna click OK. Now we have all our wells. We're done with defining our well types, but we still haven't defined their locations. So we're gonna click the plus sign in well 1 and select the perforation. Select perforation. We're gonna click in add new perforation, and we're gonna input its block location, which is 49 in the I direction, 56 and 1. We're gonna click apply. We're gonna go with well 2, set a new 51, 36 and 1. We're gonna go well 3. Well 3 is a horizontal well, so we'll define its location as it starts at 34th and ends at 36, 44 and 1. Well 4 is horizontal as well, and it starts in 30, ends at 32, 27 and 1. Well 5, it's at 15, 11, 1, and the injector, it's at the same location, 15, 11, and 1. We're gonna get a warning that says that we're trying to perforate in the same grid block, which is fine. Well 6 is located 6, 31, and 1. And the injector, it's the same location, 6, 31, and 1. So we're done with the perforations. Last step in building our model is add a range of dates. So we're gonna click dates. We're gonna click in add a range of dates, starting at 0 to 1001 days. Press OK, and we want a time step of 1 day, and press OK. Now we're able to save our project. Before perforating our wells, CMG doesn't allow you to save your project. I'm not sure why it is. So we click on save and select your preferred location. I'm gonna name my project video project 1. You don't have to name it as that, of course. I'm gonna go ahead and save it and click OK. We're We're gonna go ahead and close CMG. Like to save changes. Sure. Now we're gonna add our reservoir properties. So go to where you're saved your file and open it as a text file. The first change we're gonna make is that here in the axis directions, so we're gonna set it to 1, 1, and 1. Now we're gonna change our top section. Since we have varying depths, we're gonna erase what we have in here, and we're gonna go to where your text files are, open the top one, select it all, and copy it to here. The top file is slightly different to the depth file because this is where the top of each block is located, which is 25 feet above the center. Next step is to set up our permeability values, which are located with the keyword permi. We're gonna erase the 100 millidarcies and erase con, which states that all the properties are constant, and add our permeability file. Last step is to input our porosity values. So we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. Erase the current value, erase constant, now we're gonna do some other minor changes. We're gonna look for the keyword weld3, and we're gonna modify where it says geometry, because our weld3 is perforated along the x-axis, so we're gonna tell it geometry I, and we're gonna do the same thing with weld4. Instead of K, we're gonna say I. We can go ahead and save this file. Alright, so the last step is to input some additional parameters. There are some multi-phase properties. What we're gonna do for this section is that I'm gonna provide you a file that's called pbtinfo.dat, and we're just gonna paste it to our main file. So we're gonna go ahead and select all the contents of this file, and then we're gonna copy that. We're gonna look for line 467, I'm sorry. And we're gonna select everything till line 526, more or less, till here. We're gonna go ahead and erase these lines, and we're gonna copy the file I provided you. let's save this file, and this is it. We're gonna open our launcher, select our file, and drag it to Builder. Now we're gonna click Invalidate with IMAX. Yes. We're gonna select Run Normally and click Run. The simulation is done. We can click in Launch Results. It's where the 3D version of our results are going to be shown. Here are all the properties of our reservoir. For example, we can select pressure to compare the results of our MATLAB script. If we click here, this is our last pressure time step.